Yo, Chuck.
Hey, what's going on YouTube? In this video, I'm going to go over destructuring arrays and objects, which is just a fancy way of declaring variables with a much cleaner syntax. So here I am at the MDM web docs for destructuring, and you can see there's a lot of different syntax you can use for destructuring. A lot of this is extra. You're really not going to use this in your day-to-day coding. I'm going to show you what's relevant and probably what you're going to use to clean up your code. Okay, so for destructuring arrays, like I mentioned before, destructuring is just a syntactical, clean way of declaring your variables. So you can see we've got wrestlers in an array here, and the old way of declaring a variable, you might say let macho equal wrestlers at index 0, let Brett equal wrestlers at index 1, let warrior equal wrestlers at index 2. So this is the old way, and if I was to console.log these variable names, say macho, Brett, warrior, I get what you would expect. I get them all console.log. It works, but the code could be a little bit cleaner. It's kind of clunky. So with destructuring, what we can do is just say let, and then I'll use the brackets here, and then I'll match my variable name to the indices of whatever it is I want to declare in that variable name. So I'll say let macho, Brett, warrior, and then now I'm going to point to the wrestlers array, just like that. And if I come down here and console.log macho, Brett, and warrior. Actually, let's put the warrior with a lowercase w because that's weird. Okay, if I enter that, I get the same thing, but notice how much cleaner this code looks. It just looks so much better. And you can tell I'm using these values as variable names. As I mentioned, I'm matching the indices of where they appear in the wrestlers array. So here's a little trick you can do. Say I wanted to get the rest of the wrestlers after the Ultimate Warrior. So I want to get the Undertaker and Hulk Hogan, but I want to put them in their own variable. I can specify a variable name. Let's just call it rest. And then I'm going to use the spread operator here, just 3 dots. And this is saying, hey, I want all of whatever else is remaining in that wrestlers array to be encapsulated in the rest variable. So now, if I console.log rest, I get the Undertaker and Hulk Hogan. Excellent. So that's very powerful when you want to grab a bunch of values or the remaining values in an array. Okay, and then another trick worth mentioning. Say I just want to capture Hulk Hogan, but I don't want the Undertaker. What you can actually do is leave a comma, which is saying, hey, I'm going to skip one value, and then space the name of the variable. I'll say Hulk. So now if I console.log Hulk, I get Hulk Hogan. But notice I'm skipping the Undertaker value by using that comma. So this is just a real quick way on how to destructure arrays. Now let's move on to objects. Now with objects, destructuring is pretty similar, if not the same as with an arrays, but there's a little bit of a difference. So if I was going to do the old way, real quick, I would say let Dana equal promoters at key 1. Let Vince equal promoters at key 2. And real quick, if I was to console.log these values, just as before, we will get Dana White and Vince McMahon. Okay, so that's the old way. So the new way is I would make a variable, declare it, use the curly braces now to signify that I'm going to be extracting from an object, and then now I'm going to specify which key I want to change, and then I'm going to say I want to call this Dana, key 2, let's call it Vince, equals, and then point back to the promoters object. And now if I console.log Dana and Vince, I should get the same thing, and I do. Excellent. So again, with these remaining values, we can use the spread operator for whatever. So I don't need to reference a key this time. If I wanted to encapsulate the rest of these guys, I could just use dot remaining or rest or whatever you want to put there as your variable name. And now if I console.log remaining, you can see I'm getting back Bob, Aram, and Oscar de la Hoya. Perfect. So very similar to destructuring with an array. Now again, I believe we can even do this and just skip a value by specifying a key. So if I came in here and put Oscar de la Hoya. So these are like the primary ways you're going to really interact with the object when you're destructuring. Very, very similar to an array. Just know, if you were to check the MDM webpage, which I'm going to include in a link below, there's numerous different little tricks of destructuring, but in this video, I made sure to show you the most common that you're most likely to see in your day-to-day. So thank you for watching this video, guys. I will see you in the next one.